ahead and get started. Thank you for joining me today on building a digital marketing program to win local customers, which I know is a mouthful, but we will go over it a little bit more in depth and what that means. First and foremost, my name is Madeline or Maddie Park. I'm the Director of Marketing at Netsertive. Netsertive is a digital marketing agency for franchisors and franchisees. We do localized marketing with the proprietary software. And we have kind of exploded in the franchise space quite recently. And I found Netsertive because I use it in my own franchise locations. My husband and I own 4 brands, 15 locations in the Philadelphia area. And I also spent a decade working at an umbrella brand, growing from 300 or I think 80 locations to over 300. And they now have, I think, 9 brands. So really seeing it from all sides, love to connect. My QR code's right there. And I think that I'll be able to provide some very valuable information and cut through some of that kind of BS sales stuff, and just really give you, what's going to work today. So without further ado, why digital marketing? I know this probably is obvious, but without digital marketing, your business is just not gonna grow. You have to be where people are, and that is where they are. They're online, and you have to advocate for yourself and your business. They want you to come to them. They're waiting for that. They're used to that, like, very high touch point customer service. Tell me what I want to know when I need to know it. I kind of give it the example of, if you put a toy in Toys R Us and don't tell anyone about it, the chances of people buying it are probably pretty slim, maybe 1 or 2 here or there. But if you do that, if you put the toy in the Toys R Us and you put banners and you tell people and you pass flyers out, you're going to sell a lot more. And that's exactly what happens when it comes to your business online. So a couple quick stats. What does 2022 marketing in the digital world, or marketing, look like at a glance, I should say? Primarily digital, followed up with radio and TV. However, we are seeing a crossover from TV into the digital space, meaning that we are now seeing CTV ads, over-the-top ads, YouTube ads. So they're really starting to cross mingle at a much lower cost. And then, of course, we've got print, the traditional guerrilla marketing, and trade shows. Right now, digital marketing accounts for about 65% of the ad spend in 2021. 177 billion spent on social media and 145 billion spent on paid search. So paid search and social media are really going to take the cake when it comes to the digital world. Other sort of things in digital can be retargeting, display ads, those sort of things. But the most bang for your buck, or ROI, are going to come from social media and paid search. Again, that is where people are. So when it comes to social media, I know that there are a lot of people who don't have time for it. They don't believe in it. They don't want to do it for their business. And the fact of the matter is that Facebook acts as your digital storefront. It really is a secondary website for you. It has such high search rankings within the Google algorithm, and really great inbound links. So you have to utilize that. And it's a free platform to do so. Another metaphor I like to use is the strip mall. So I'm sure we've all walked across a strip mall before. And if you see a store and the lights are on, people in there waving, hi, how are you? Okay, cool. They're in business. Maybe I'll check them out sometime. Or maybe I go in now. If you walk by a store and the lights are off or the doors are locked and you're like, I don't know what's going on in that business, looks shut down to me, and keeps walking, that's what's happening on your Facebook page if you're not utilizing it. If people are going to your page to see your reviews, to see if you're active, and if you're not, they're seeing a shut down store and they're moving on to the next best thing. So competitively, you need to utilize the resources you have, and Facebook and Instagram are great because off the bat, they are free, which you're not finding a lot of the time. in this digital kind of pay to play world. So let's talk about the components of a successful localized strategy. I know we've got our big franchisor, they've got their national advertising fund. You see franchises that are running multi-million-dollar campaigns, but what does it actually take to create a localized strategy where you're part of a franchise system, but also you're owning your local marketing and understanding where those dollars are going? First and foremost, you're gonna need a converting website. That means that it is optimized for SEO, optimized for conversion, meaning the franchisor is looking at the traffic to the page, the bounce rate, making sure that your landing pages are converting, the buttons are working, it's not too long where you're scrolling 10 pages down. This is going to be your highest priority. People are going to your website. Those are going to be your best leads, your best customers, and your highest return on investment. If you have a terrible website or a terrible landing page, whether it's you're in charge of it or your franchisor, that is the biggest red flag and needs to be attended to the highest priority. All of your traffic is going to go there. So really crucial that you either push your franchisor on that, or whoever your vendor, or if you're in charge of your own landing pages, making sure that those are up to snuff, as I say. The next is going to be paid search. So paid search means Google, a little bit of Bing, and those are your keywords. Your local ad set, the restaurants near me, doggy grooming near me, your Google My Business page, owning that is the primary power in your area of pushing people to your website, telling people you're legit, your reviews, your referrals are all going to stem around that kind of Google central system. The next, like we talked about, social media. I recommend Facebook and Instagram. It tends to be a little easier now that they are owned and connected. So whether it's ads or posting, they can be kind of connected and take a little bit less work. Sure, you can have others such as TikTok or Twitter or Pinterest, LinkedIn. The truth is that those are just not returning on ad dollars right now. We'll get into this a little bit later, but the fact is that while target markets are on there, such as I own a bunch of home service brands, Pinterest should be a gold mine for me with stay-at-home moms, community members, but it really just is brand awareness. People are not converting there. The only places we're seeing conversions are Facebook and Instagram. So those should be your primary focus. The next, you've got some display ads, should you choose to do it. You've got your referral and your review programs, and then of course your analytic dashboard, whether that's provided through a vendor, your home office, or you're looking at it from your back end right there. The next tier down, and this is changes for industry. Home services is still heavy in direct mail and yard signs. So those are probably higher on the pyramid, or this, I guess, upside down pyramid for me. But traditionally, direct mail, video, CTV, and guerrilla marketing are layered after this top tier. And then with the remainder of your budget could be trade shows, other print. I know some franchisees are like, I have to be on my kids, Little League banner or the cafe print menus. While that's great for brand awareness, again, lower on the totem pole in terms of ROI. So now we have, the keys to success. Who should be in charge of them? On this very top level, your franchisor or their preferred vendors should be in charge of this. And in charge of it, I mean, they own it, they provide the strategy for success and the support and any training. They should be telling you, this is exactly what you should do. Here's your recommended spend. And then it is on the franchisees to ensure that those happen, whether they have to do the implementation themselves or ensure that the vendors do the implementation. That is where the franchisor should really take hold in terms of giving you the keys to success. Second tier, again, it's going to be franchisees and preferred vendors. Of course, franchisees are not sending out their own direct mail. They're not creating their own CTV ads. So they're going to rely on vendors for that. But again, When it comes to guerrilla marketing, that's going to be on the franchisees to put the yard signs out. We have a Men in Kilts where our techs wear kilts and wash windows. They're out doing the jigs. You know, the franchisor is not going to be in charge of that strategy or implementation. And then lastly, again, at the very tip of the pyramid with trade shows and other print, the franchisees are going to be in charge of that, because many times it's one-offs. It's not going to provide a lot of strategy, and it's very different in different locations. I will put a caveat that any franchisee implementation should be supported by the home office. So if you're going to do a banner for a little league, or you're going to a puppy festival and you need ads, you should be able to submit a creative request or have your coaching support help you in ways to make that investment the most successful. And then also the majority of any creative should be created and managed by the franchisor. So you should push them, if they're not giving it to you, on giving you creative that you can use, that you either have a brand folder or a DAM that you can go in, pull from, edit as needed, so that you're not being bottlenecked by having to create all the creative yourselves, and also making sure that you're staying within brand standards. An easy tool that a lot of franchises use is Canva or Canva Enterprises. It tends to be kind of a much more user-friendly and franchise-friendly tool for that kind of replacing Photoshop or PicMonkey or any of those other kind of online tools for creative. So just a quick tip there. Okay, so we did the tools to success. We understand that digital marketing is important. So how do you do it? You should utilize vendors or home office expertise. So this is where I had to learn the hard way, and I'm in marketing, where I tried to do our SEO myself or trying to, optimize and create content. And what I like to say is that, marketing is rocket science. There is a reason why there are millions of agencies that focus just on marketing and digital marketing at that. There are so many different outlets and ways to target and in tips and tactics, and it's always changing, that it's just impossible for you as a small business owner to try and master that along with every other thing you're doing in the business, and also trying to be high level and working on the business and not in the business. So you really want to lean on either preferred vendors or your internal home office expertise to do what you're not an expert at. So, whether that's, paying more money to have one of the preferred marketing vendors do your campaigns, that sort of thing. Or even if you're just relying on them for the creative, make sure you're using the tools that the home office has. While you can do it yourself, it doesn't mean necessarily you should. The next is going to be matching advertising channels to user intent. So what that means is holding each outlet and account you're spending money in for your business accountable to what they're producing. So instead of saying, oh, digital marketing doesn't work or social media doesn't work, I spent this much money and didn't even get any customers from it. Well, break that down. So, you've got your marketing, and then you've got your digital marketing. In your digital marketing, you've got your paid, your Facebook, your Instagram, let's, leave it at that for now. From your Facebook, what are you looking to gain from it? Are you looking to gain customers or brand awareness, or a little bit of both? And creating goals that are going to match what the advertising channel's user intent is. So for instance, people go to Facebook not necessarily looking to buy, but will. So you're not going to look at Facebook and say, I expect, 100% return on investment for leads coming from Facebook, because Facebook isn't built for that. It's built for entertainment and connection, whereas PPC and those Google advertising are built for leads and conversion. So what I mean, and same thing if you trickle all the way down to Pinterest, you're not going to say I'm spending $500 in Pinterest and I should get 20 leads. That equates to, $3,000 in customers, because Pinterest is not built for that. So, don't set your marketing channels up to fail. Set them up where it matches user intent. So, we're using Facebook. We're spending $500. We're hoping to get 5 leads and this much amount of traffic and this amount of engagement. If it then over time, if it's working, if it's not working, you can scale up your expectations once you start to get a feel of what those analytics look like and what the quality of leads and traffic and where they're coming from. Then you can really start to fine tune your budgets so that you're making the outlets work for you, because you understand what the users are doing from that platform and how it pertains to your brand. I think I said that really well for the first time in my life. It's very, very confusing, but again, just make sure that you're not overestimating the advertising channels you're using. The next, like we talked about before, make sure your pages are created and up to date and used regularly. People go to your pages. They want to see if you're using it. They want to see if you're responding to customers. They want to see your reviews. They don't want to see that your last post was 2018 and it was, why masks are going to be useless in the future. It's just nothing pertains to it or is current about that right now. Also bonus points if you know your logins, and make sure you keep your logins, because if you're using vendors, if you hire people to do your marketing, it can become a nightmare to always reset your logins, especially if the employee was fired and you can't find them. Own that as if it were your website. Those are important. You don't want to start your pages over, just like you wouldn't want to recreate your website, and get into a cadence where they're being used regularly. Have a review and a referral plan and utilize social media for that. Again, social media is free to the utmost extent. So, having your reviews go to your Facebook page, have your reviews go to your Google page, and set up, if you refer people in your mom's group, you'll get $5 off. So, mention us in your Facebook moms group, send us a screenshot and we'll automatically apply a coupon. Those go a million miles further than you just advertising your business. I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir here. And that goes into utilizing your digital word of mouth. Make it easy for people to talk about you, make it easy for people to want to review you and refer you. People are already logged in and synced digitally. The easier you can sync your digital to their daily habits of use, the better set up for success you will be. So moving on, and I talk really fast, so this probably won't take an hour, but feel free to shoot questions into the chat. Is dominating your market territory online. So what that means is a little bit deeper into the PPC range of, this is when people are searching you need to come up, and ways to do that are through both PPC, which means pay per click. You have display ads, you have near me ads, you have just text ads. And then you also are going to utilize your SEO, which is search engine optimization. The way that you can rank higher up, meaning when someone searches you, you're showing up on that first page, if anything, in that first 5, are making sure that your website is built for that. So built around keywords that are, remodeling in Detroit, Michigan, Detroit bath remodeling, bath tune-up. So working with your franchisor to make sure each one of your location pages, your microsites, your social media, all has not only the industry term, your location term, and then maybe if you want to do a broader term as well, you can do that. But making sure that everything that the franchisor pushes out for you is localized to help dominate your area online as people are searching. A little more into that, what determines organic and local discoverability. That is your technical page construction, which is what we just talked about. On page content, so you're doing offers like $5 off all Detroit residents for home cleaning, that sort of thing. You're having quality sites linking, your pages are converting, you're good, you have your local listing set up, and your reviews. So all the components we've already talked about, but here's how they play into the actual what consumers are seeing and why or why not they would convert and become a customer for you. Let me just check the chat real quick. And oh, we're good. All right. So then we kind of get into, well, what is next after that? So you've got your pages set up, you've got your display ads, your social ads, your Google ads or your Bing. Then what? Because you are going to get, no matter what, you are going to get a spike in traffic. And that all that traffic is not going to convert. If it does, great, but it's not going to. How do you get the most out of every dollar you spend? And the next step would be retargeting. So what retargeting means are those annoying ads that follow you around, that you're convinced that either, and maybe they do, I'm pretty sure they do, your phone's listening to you, or you searched one thing and an ad came up. Now it's cookied you and it's going to follow you around to different participating websites. While that might be annoying, it is very important for one, utilizing the dollars spent and also your brand awareness. To date, results, and I mean, reports are saying that it takes about 5 to 7 brand touches before a consumer is saying yes, their first yes, meaning like clicking in and submitting a form, clicking in and or calling in and becoming a customer. Before you get that first yes, they're going to want to see you about 7 times. So retargeting is a really good and cheap way to kind of get more of those looks up without having to constantly pay for new impressions and new ads. The way you can do this are through third-party vendors such as AdRoll. They make it very easy. You upload your creative and then you kind of put tags on either landing pages or certain websites, and then it will kind of automate it for you. But again, I would, if you're looking into retargeting, I would say it should start anywhere between 3 and 6 months after you've already been running paid ads, so that you have a bulk of people you can retarget to. Retargeting's gonna work better when it has a bigger, obviously, bulk of people. So that's definitely something to look in at stage, 2 or 3 in the pipeline. So now we've got, our advertising is up. Who are we sending it to? Because you're obviously not just going to send it to everyone in the world or everyone in the United States. So what are those best practices? How are we targeting so that the right people are seeing our ads? And, we have, for myself, we have, home cleaning services. Some of the services are high ticket items. I shouldn't be advertising to those 18, 19-year-olds on TikTok or on Instagram that don't own houses and don't have a job. So the first is your custom audience. That's based on relevant keywords, URLs, and apps. So keywords such as, home cleaning businesses, local home cleaners, local maids. Those are all keywords in your paid localized ads that are going to make a difference. Or custom audiences, people that have visited this URL or people that are part of this app. That's going to be what's like a custom audience and very highly targeted. The next down is called affinity audiences. Those are based on what people are passionate about. So you see a lot of this on social media where you can set a geographic area, and then you can also say, and people have interests in dogs, dog walking, dog grooming, healthy organic pet food. Those are more affinity audiences and based on their habits, what they like, what they are interacting, the content they're already interacting with. You can do in-market audiences. So that's users based on recent search history. So words they're searching. You can target people who are looking for things in your area. I know that sounds creepy, but there really is all the data out there. And who I think does this really, really well is Amazon. So if you ran ads with Amazon, which I would only recommend if you're more of a product-based franchise. But if you ran ads with Amazon, they can see, they have data in to see what people are looking for, what they've looked at, what they've purchased, what they've put in their cart but haven't purchased yet. So that's all called an in-market audience, where they're utilizing your recent habits within a certain platform to help you make a sale. And then last is going to be the remarketing or the retargeting, people that have already interacted with your businesses, whether they're a current customer, they visited a URL, they're already kind of in that system. Another audience that is kind of fits in between all of these are called the lookalike audiences. So that's going to be an audience that is similar to your current customer or your current custom audience. So usually it is generated through a third-party company or Facebook platform itself, and it has cookied people and will create a broader audience based on the custom audience you have. So that's kind of where that fits in as well. So now we've got our, our ads, we know where they're going, we know what the creative is, or we didn't really spend too much time on the creative, but assuming that the home office gives you the creative. So how do we make sure that they're being successful? I like to talk about dashboards and what's really needed. So the thing here is that there are so many analytics, there are so many dashboards, there are so many numbers that can be portrayed in different light based on the hour that you're looking at them. So what I like to say, and this is just a dashboard that NetSertive has created for franchisors, but whether you're using a custom dashboard, whether you're looking at Google and Facebook, I say look for the life rafts. And those are going to be the numbers you're familiar with and the numbers that make you money. So instead of seeing all these different things in each post and all of the, quite frankly, bullshit that Facebook and Google are going to give you to make you want to spend more money, what you really want to be looking at are, the key things, which is going to be, your cost per lead, your cost per click, your number of clicks, how many people converted, and how many people became clients. So it's going to be different for each business, but you can see here, right, this is kind of a roll up of all of the different display or advertising campaigns this client has, but they're looking at impressions. So how many people they've reached total, how many clicks that got them to the website. Of those clicks, how many people converted and filled out a form, how many calls. Another one you can look at is traffic. And then what I mean by look at their life rafts is if you want to optimize and make sure that your average digital marketing isn't just static, but continuing to evolve and grow and work better and better and better for you, is look at the traffic. Is it going down or is it going up? Is it static? If it's going down, your content's not great. Your paid ads might be down. You need to start boosting some content and to get clicks to your website. If the traffic is up, but the conversions are down, then you need to look at the landing pages, the form fill out. Is it too long? Why aren't people filling it out? That sort of thing. If all of a sudden your calls drop, did something happen with the ad? Is your phone number wrong? Is it wrong somewhere? So look at the life rafts and think of the simplest explanation on how to fix that. Then when you kind of are all moving in the green direction, then you can start thinking about, okay, how do we layer onto this so that we continue to grow? Is that more ads on top of it? Is it changing the creative? But making sure that all of these life rafts are floating upwards before you start saying, okay, well, how do we do more ads? That's a good way to figure out how they're working. And I also like to say, look at month over month. It is very easy to do week over week. And to be honest, that's just going to get really granular. That's just too granular, especially for a franchise owner. And you're going to start worrying about things that might just happen naturally, such as, calls were down this week as opposed to last week. Well, this week was Memorial Day weekend. So, it's not always a problem. So my suggestion is look at month over month. That's going to give you a holistic view of if you're trending upwards or downwards, and then go from there. And then also, like I said, don't forget to break it down. This is an example of kind of month over month. Don't forget to break it down by channel so that you're continuing to hold your advertising channels accountable to user intent. I cannot say that enough. Again, for instance, if you're starting to push a ton of money into Facebook, not getting a lot of leads, but noticing that you're converting very well on Google, let's reallocate that social media budget over to Google, and then reconfigure our goals so that Facebook and Instagram are more towards brand awareness and clicks rather than conversions and leads. So that's where you really want to break it down by channel. Again, looking at the life rafts, where's your clicks, your conversions, and your impressions coming from, and then allocating the spend accordingly. Obviously, your biggest spend should be where the most leads are, but again, there should be spend across all three no matter what. You can even spend as little as $1 a day on Facebook and Instagram, and you're still going to reach a couple hundred people, even for, as low as how many days are in a year, $365 a year. So there's really no excuse to not advertise and continually be pushing your brand out there in some way, shape, or form. Again, this is just kind of a reiteration of what I just said. In the sea of numbers, look for your life rafts. We're looking at traffic and clicks, leads and conversions, cost per click and cost per lead. Those are different and they're going to vary based on your industry standards, but that's when you're going to want to go back to your home office and really look at the KPIs. What are the benchmarks? What are other people seeing? What are other people in my region seeing? If your cost per click is too high, how do we get that down? If it's super low, share your best practices. But that's when you can lean on your franchisor for that. Reach and likes, less and impressions and engagement, less important in terms of where your actual money is coming from, but very important when it comes to the top of the funnel, getting people acquainted with your brand, getting those touch points before they're going to say the yes. Unfortunately, the marketing world is different where it's very difficult to say, I'm going to spend $150 in direct mail and I'm going to get 20 clients. That's what we used to be able to do for our home cleaning brand. And you just can't do that anymore because the digital is just expanded so much that it is just not as simple as I can spend this much and get this many clients. It's much more diluted and approximated, and you've got arrows pointing in every direction. So utilizing these numbers are going to be the simplest way for you to get to that number as accurately as possible. And finally, I'll close out with this is, think of marketing as one of your employees. You're not going to hire someone and just say, okay, go, and expect them to succeed. You're also going to not hire someone and expect your business to succeed. So hire them, use them, think of marketing as one of your employees, set them up for success. You got to invest in their growth. You're not just going to say, here's a uniform, go, and expect 5 years from now them to be super successful and you've never had to support them. And also allow them to do the work for you. That is what marketing is for. That is what your employees are for, to grow your business. So let them do that. At the slightest bump in the road, you get a bad review from someone, or, you spent a little more than you wanted to on the marketing, or you're having supply chain issues. Marketing is always the first to be cut. And you have to remember that that's like firing an employee. So if you're going to cut back on your marketing spend, think of it as an employee and really make that decision carefully. Because again, marketing is your primary driver of success in this kind of business. So that is the long and short of it. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat now. If not, we will share the recording. Of course, you can always reach out to me either on LinkedIn or via my email, which is mpark@netsertive.com. I am happy to have one-on-one conversations with you if you have any questions or you need an audit. I always tell my company, look, I'm not going to sell. I don't want to sell. I just want to connect people. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid that I'm going to, push anything on you. I just truly am very passionate about marketing and franchising, and have probably been in everybody's shoes on this call at some point or another. But I will give you back, I don't know, 20 minutes of your time. Not seeing any questions, so hopefully I explained everything well. And I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their day.